YouTube, it's me. I'm back. I promise y'all I will be back. Told y'all that I'd be back to tell y'all about my stalking story. This is real life. Nothing of what I'm saying is a joke. I don't exaggerate anything. I may exaggerate how I speak. If I get emotional, I really try not to, but it's emotional what happened to me. I want to say I already apologize to everybody involved. I apologize for my part. I have never gotten an apology from anybody because they honestly don't believe that anything wrong was done. Let me tell y'all something. What I'm going to tell y'all is it's going to get dark, and y'all going to even say that's not possible. Oh, when you are dealing with demonic, evil souls who grew up thieving, drug abusers, users, around people who are just abusive in general, point blank period. When that's all you know and you were never corrected, trust me, what I'm going to tell y'all, and I'm going to tell y'all from start, I'm going to try to the end. And I know I say I'm going to do part twos a lot and I don't end up doing them. Later down the road I will. But if I don't finish tonight, I'm going to make a part two, because this has got to stop. Y'all, I have been through the ringer since the end of October of 2013. It's about to be the middle year of 2024. I'll look at my videos sometimes and I'm listening to what I say and I'm like, it was in my head but it came out wrong. And so I'm really going to try and take my time. I'm really going to try and be as detailed as I can. So, I met my stalker. I think I met him actually. I think it was my first year in high school. I know that's where I met him, in high school. I know that for a fact. But I started 9th grade when I was 15. I was 15 years old, and I think he was in a couple of classes, and I know we went to school together for sure, but I'm not sure if I met him at 15 or my second year in high school at 16. For sure, 16, okay? So I met my stalker, and he was already diagnosed with mental illness at this time, but it was nothing like, I think he drove himself literally crazy after we split. He for real drove himself crazy. And excuse me for a minute because I'm having anxiety right now, so I feel like my head is spinning. So I'm really trying to get into story time. So if I don't look over here, I'm just thinking, I just want to get it out, and I don't want to think too much about what I'm talking about because, you know, it's scary already being online telling the whole world all your business. It's really scary. It's really scary because this stalker put my life in danger, and I'm not kidding. Danger so many times. And then when I act like there's nothing wrong with it, and I'm the wrong for not being okay with it. So I met him in high school. I was living with my mom. My dad was not around. My dad wasn't there. My mom and dad split up around this time, and I met him in high school. I was living with my parents, and as a child I was always angry. I was an angry child because everybody's just gonna have to accept what I'm saying because this is my life. It happened to me. I don't care. When I was a child, I was so angry growing up because I remember I had so much love to give as a child. And as poor as we were, I would find penny, and I still do this to this day, find pennies and change on the ground, and I pick them up and I save all my change. I have a huge piggy bank. with a bunch of change in there, and I save it too. because every penny saved is a penny earned. And I remember I used to go all out. You know how if you're a parent and your child brings you home something from school and you just cherish it and you love it, that's how you should be. Because I've always been like that with my children's gifts. But when I was a kid and I was so excited to make my mom something, Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and all this and that, it was like, I don't want to say she would get mad when I would give her something, but it was like, for sure she was not appreciative of it. She was not appreciative of it. She was not appreciative of it. And she would always just throw it. She would never show it off. She would never tell anybody about anything I got her. And I remember one time it was Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, and I saved my pennies. And that was a lot of money for me, because not only did my mom not even have pennies in her purse when we was growing up, I saved $2, and that was a lot. That's like thinking of giving a kid at 7 years old today like $200 for their birthday. That's how much it valued money wise to me as a kid. And I went into this gas station and I didn't tell my mom nothing, and I bought it and I gave it to her, and she looked at it and she threw it. And I remember I was just like, I was embarrassed. And then I don't know, it was just, affection was not a thing. It was not a thing. My mom had mental illnesses herself. She did. And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not being funny. Nobody needs to take this personal, because I'm not even taking this personal. I'm speaking up because I have to. So I was angry as a kid because my parents would always say we only had you because we needed to live off the government, and that we did. Oh, and that we did. So I was very, very angry. So that leads to when I met my ex in high school, and my mom has passed away, so God rest her soul, seriously. I'd never have wished bad on anybody. I used to be too forgiving until I became homeless, because I was so forgiving. I almost lost my life and did lose my life because I was so forgiving. But yeah, so I was angry as a child for that, because not only did we not get love, attention, I not get love or attention, or never had anything. I was just angry at the world. So once I went to high school, and my ex, who we do have one child in common, he was the only one that talked to me. And then I think because narcissists are materialistic, I didn't know nothing about narcissists. I didn't know narcissists were just cold and selfish, literally only care about themselves. It was like, all right, y'all, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but this is facts. I think the only reason why, because everybody in high school thought I was a virgin until I almost graduated high school, and everybody thought I wasn't. I don't know why, because I never hung around no men or nothing. Never did. That was just I matured later in life. I was almost 15 when I started getting hips, and that's about it, some hips. So once he found out that I was that, then that was like he wanted me. And then so he pursued me, but he only found that out because we was hanging out and talking, and then he found that out. And yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was on my pee the time of the month, and I didn't even want to do anything with him. Like, I didn't like him like that, but he kept like for real forcing me, like. So we did, and then we were together pretty much ever since then. But so it's like, I think it was a trauma bond. I was looking for somebody because I was so angry as a child. I was angry. But once I met him, I believe everything happens for a reason. I don't think he was never supposed to stay in my life. Actually, I know he wasn't supposed to stay in my life, because if somebody who loves you would never done what I'm going to tell y'all. Yeah. But once I met him, it was like, that was the love I was looking for. Or not love, because it wasn't love. I think it was the attention, that somebody actually finally noticing me. Yeah. And then my anger kind of went away after that. So I met him, I think when I was 15. We were friends at 16 and then 17, and then that's when he found that out, and then he was really like on me. And so yeah, we never stopped talking after that until yeah, so that was 2015 was 2005, when I was 16 it was 2006, when I was 17 it was 2007, and when I was 18 it was 2008. That's how I keep up with the years. because my years are, even though it's not the year 18, it was the 8, you know what I'm saying? That's how I do my math in my head. But yeah, so we were together since then. And then when I was in the 12th grade, it got so bad in my house. I never went to school. Actually, we didn't go to school. So, and then my mother got charged with child neglect and child abuse, which we were neglected. We didn't go to school. I didn't go to school because we were so poor, and I was just I need to stop saying we. I'm trying to put this on me. I was poor. My mother had nothing. She always relied on somebody else for something, and I'm telling you, them penny things ain't no joke. So yeah, and then she got on substances, and she would disappear for days, and then I remember one time it was like, I know for a week or two she was gone, and she would not answer the phone. She was on substances, and then we didn't go to school, and the CPS came in, and they was like, this house is not even in condition for y'all to live here. So we went to court, and the judge said, we're putting y'all in juvenile detention, which is children jail. So I went to juvenile detention, and then the judge said that they was going to put us in foster care, and I'm like, I'm about to be 18 in a couple months. Like, what are you talking about putting me in foster care? Like, what you talking about? So that happened. I didn't go because I was almost 18, but unfortunately, yes. And I think that's why narcissism runs in my family. And then the trauma hit when these people went into foster care. So my boyfriend at the time, his mother was an angel. She did too much, but thank you for doing all of that. I swear to God, I appreciate it. She took me in, and 2 of my siblings, and then I turned 18, and then I graduated high school, and then everybody just kind of did their own thing. They had their own boyfriends, girlfriends, and yeah, and then me and my boyfriend was together at this time, and this is where it kind of goes. He was so spoiled as a child. I appreciate the mother for everything she has done for me. Everything. She did too much. Anything I wanted, she bought it. She bought us a house. Me and my my boyfriend at the time, she bought us a house. She always made sure we had a car to drive. She always made sure I had a cell phone because I was the one working. She did too much. And then my ex kept telling me to tell her to manipulate me, to manipulate her, to give us money. And I said, I got money, I got a job. I said, no, I'm not doing that. And this is kind of where it went downhill because, once you get out of high school, I didn't do nothing for almost a year after I graduated high school, and I was terrified of the world because I didn't know nothing about the real world. I was always stuck in the house as a child. Didn't even have a boyfriend until I was 17 years old, over 17, and didn't know nothing about the real world. Embarrassed because I never made any friends because of the way I grew up and my home life, and so after all that happened, I was like, I don't want to be like, I'm sorry. I don't want to be like my mother. I'm about to cry. I don't want to be anything like my mom. I was like, I resent her. I was like, she did nothing for me growing up. How dare her? Who she thinks she is? And that always stuck with me. I don't want to be nothing like her. I don't want to be nothing like her. So I really appreciated my mother. I've never been married in my life, but I really appreciate I'm gonna say my ex-mother-in-law now. I appreciate her because she did too much. She did too much. When I graduated high school, she oh my gosh, she paid for everything. She paid for a week, almost 2 weeks at Virginia Beach for me because I graduated high school, and I didn't think I was going to graduate because I never went to school, and they kept holding me back and holding me back and holding me back. But
the counselor at my school kept talking to me, and she was motivating me. And that's when, at a younger age, I was like, counseling really is good for you, because I thought it was embarrassing. I was like, they don't judge you. I was like, this is a good one. And she was a school teacher, and I told her about how I was in juvenile detention, and I was like, they really want bad kids. I was like, they just make bad decisions like me. I was like, but all I did was not go to school. I was like, yeah, when I was younger, I was evil little girl. Oh, I was evil. You look at me wrong, I was gonna run up on you. That's how bad I was. But yeah, and then the school counselor was talking to me, and then the principal was like, if you go every day your 12th grade year, I will graduate you. And I said, nuh-uh, because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I did not deserve that. And they said yes. So I went every day. And not only did I go every day, because I'm dyslexic, so I had a really hard time reading, and that's why I had social anxiety, because my mom would never let me talk to anybody, and every time anybody would knock on the door, she'd be freaking out like the feds were out there or something. So then I started getting freaked out and sketched out, and then I picked up those traits. And then yeah, she was just a lazy parent. She just didn't want to watch me play outside. She didn't care about none of my plays at school. Yeah. And also, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. When I was a child, my mother, I'm about 5'8". That's how tall I'm 5'8". My mom, I think, was barely 5'2", and she was about 400 pounds. So then as a child, I got traumatized by that, because everybody, and I felt so bad for my mother, because she would get picked on all the time for being huge. So they don't do this now. I think it's called like the lap band, where they put a band over inside your stomach and they squeeze it, so you only, instead of your stomach being this big, it's like this. But back in the day, in the 90s, when they cut your stomach open to do that surgery, they would cut your stomach in half, like your actual stomach where your food goes into, and then it was called stomach stapling, and they actually stapled it together. And for some reason, I was always the caretaker of everybody my whole life. I don't know why, and I'm not doing it no more. So when she got out of surgery, I had to be her stay-at-home nurse, and then when she passed away, I was her stay-at-home nurse. And I would have to take the gauze out of her hole in her stomach. It was gaping. It was this wide and this long, and it's probably like this deep into her stomach. And I would have to take the gauze out, and I would have to put the fresh water on there, and then I would have to wipe it and clean it, and then put the gauze back in, and then bandage it back up. And I remember one time she got really sick, and I felt like it was my fault. She got really sick, like she almost died, and I felt like it was my fault because I had to take care of her, and everything was my fault as a child. And I'm like, this is too much pressure for a child. Like, I should not be taking on these responsibilities. I shouldn't have to be worried about everybody else. Like, you're the mom. And I kind of felt like she was selfish for getting that, because ever since then, she was never right in the head again. Because before that, she used to clean all the time. She used to make dinner all the time. And then when I turned about 7, that's when she had the surgery. And she was a completely different person. She had brown hair, and then it was long, and then she cut it, and then she dyed it blonde like this. And all she ever cared about after that was her looks and going out and partying. And I'm just like, first of all, you never took care of me as a child, and then you grow up, and then you go out and party again. So I suppressed that when I grew up. I suppressed all of that. Yeah. So I graduated high school, and not only did I graduate high school, I had AB honor roll, and I was so scared after I left high school. I was like, what in the world am I going to do in my life? I said, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I was like, I said, I need a future. I said, I want kids. I want this. Like, just ever since I was a kid, I said I wanted to be a wife, a mother. I said I was never going to rely on anybody. And all I ever wanted was a simple life. I never wanted to be rich. I never had and never wanted a sugar daddy. I never wanted to be a sugar baby. Never was, never will be. But my now ex, my boyfriend at the time's mom, she had money, but it was given to her. And then her husband had money too. So around this time, after I graduated high school, and me and my boyfriend at the time, which I swear to God, I don't even like saying that, because that is somebody, I don't even know who I was back then. But so then when I got a job, an acquaintance told me that they was hiring at PetSmart. They'll hire you as a bather, and then if you want, they'll send you to school, they'll pay for it, and then you can make like almost $100,000 a year. And I didn't believe it. I went online and put an application in. They called me, they hired me as a bather. Not even a year later, they sent me to school, and I was a groomer, and I was petrified. So then I did that, and I really did make that money. Oh my God, did I make money. And we got tips. So my ex at the time, my then boyfriend at the time, he was already out of school a year before me, and he would stay up all night. He did this for like a year and a half. All night, he would stay up all night and sleep all day. And then he would never brush his teeth, and he would never get dressed up. It was like, he still called his mom for everything. Everything. And I think he knew I was unhappy. So, and then he would convince his mom for everything. He said that he wanted a house to make me happy, and whatever made. I'm so tired of the triangulation with me and my boyfriends and their parents being spoiled and thinking I'm supposed to be like that, and then codependency. So he told his mom to buy us a house. Oh, she bought us a house. It was a little house. It was nice. It was a really old house. So it was set up really weird. The whole entire front of the house was all the living room, and then on this side there was a door in the living room that led. There was no hallway to the bedroom, and then you go in that bedroom, and then you have to go all the way to the last. And then there was another door, and then there was a second bedroom, and then the only bathroom in the house was a shower, and it was all the way in the back bedroom that you had to go through the living room, through a bedroom, to the bedroom to get to that bathroom. So everybody had to walk through our house. And then on this side, it was the kitchen. And there was the kitchen. It was a nice, cute kitchen. It had 2 sinks, a window, and then the laundry room, and then a little back porch thing. And me and my ex's mom decorated the whole house, and she did a good job, and she paid for everything, and she did a lot. And I really wasn't happy. I was like, I'm not happy. I was just like, I just feel like something's missing in my soul. Like, I'm just not happy. And then I found out, like, I already knew he did substances, but I didn't know the extent. I did not know the extent. Like, he was already getting a disability check. He never went to work. He never would do anything nice for me just because. And he never did it. It was always his mom did it. She gave him whatever he wanted. Whatever he wanted, he got it. I'm serious. Whatever he wanted, he got it. No dollar amount mattered. Maybe it does to an extent, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if she can buy a house like that for us, like that, like, that's what I'm saying. She did too much. I'm not saying I'm ungrateful, but that was never her job to do. That was her son's job to do. Okay? So then we get our house. No, actually, he proposes to me a year before we moved in our house. And then we were never legally married, but we used to go to church all the time. And he was really good friends with the pastor. And I don't know why we didn't legally get married. Honestly, it's a blessing in disguise, thank God. But we did go in front of the church, and my family was there, and his family was there. And we just, it was like a pastor, and it was kind of vows, but not vows, because he even told us what he's doing is illegal, and y'all not legally married, but you're under God's eyes, you're married. But we never were married. If that makes sense. I don't know why, don't ask me, but that's what we did. It was just like a commitment to each other, I guess. But I always feel like something was missing. I don't know if it's because he want a real man. And I'm being so serious. What I'm saying is rude. It's really not rude. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking facts. And I feel bad for saying this, but it's the truth. But that's why I am where I am now, because I always felt bad for people. And don't feel sorry for nobody anymore. So we did the vow thing. And then I think he knew I wasn't happy, because he knew I wanted a house, I wanted kids, I wanted to get married. Thank God we did not get married. Oh my God. But yeah, so then I think after the vow thing, I think he knew I wasn't happy. And then he would embarrass me at my work, and he would be all on my Facebook, not his own, and he would be drugged up, like just talking like crazy. And then people in my work would come to me and be like, how are you not embarrassed? And then I didn't think about it, but then once they confronted me on it, I was embarrassed. I was like, this is embarrassing. And then me and him got in a big huge fight, and then I got pregnant with our son. Then I got pregnant with my son, and then right then and there, after we had our son, I was like, you're not growing with me. I was like, yes, you gave me the physical things. I said, but it's not all about the physical things. I was like, I need to know that you're the man that I need you to be, and you're just not. I said, I just don't feel that with us. I was like, you have never changed our son's diaper, not once. When I go to work, you're supposed to be watching our child, but you get your parents to come over here and then act like they don't. And then I asked you to clean the house, and then I found out your mother's been doing it the whole time. He never cooked anything. If it wasn't a hot pocket, it won't cooked. Nothing. Never washed clothes. I did all the shopping. I was just getting miserable. And then after I had our son, I had extreme postpartum depression. And then that's when I was like, I'm just not happy. I was like, I'm done. Like, never had a job. And we were together like almost 5 years at this time. 5 years at this time. And I am very grateful for what this lady has done to me, and I swear to God knows my soul, and that's all that matters. God knows. I can't lie to nobody. I can't lie to nobody because God knows. I was grateful for her. She saved me from my childhood trauma. She gave me everything I wanted, and that was not her job. And then he never had a job. He never wanted to grow. He always wanted somebody to do his work for him. And he never took care of our son. And I was so mad and irritated. And I didn't even know who I was. I knew who I was, but it was like I had no self-esteem. And I think that's what the problem was. And I would never argue with him because I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Like, and then my family would always come to me and say, why are you with him? And that doesn't bother me, but I know what they were saying. And then his drug problem got really bad. It got so bad that, like, he would go to every he would make me wake up in the middle of the night, act like he hurt his hand when I know he didn't. Oh, Jennifer, wake up. I was outside in the garage lifting weights, and I dropped a 20-pound weight on my hand, and he would do stuff like that on purpose just to get medicine from the hospital. So then he would make me take him to go hospital hopping, and I would be so irritated. I'm like, I gotta be at work at 7 a.m. That means I gotta wake up at 5:30, and I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning taking you hospital hopping. And then this was around the time they were still giving them out, but not as much. He would get so mad and cause a scene. Like, it's so obvious what you're doing, like just like what he's doing now. It's so obvious what he's doing, but these people, the mentally ill people, act like nobody sees them because they got away with everything so much their whole lives. Just because, this is not an insult, but it's the truth. Just because your mama never told you no. So I told him, I was like, I'm leaving you. I can't. I'm done. And then he did say, let's go to therapy, and I said, I'll come with you. And then he got a job, and then I was even in the therapy room like, why am I here? I don't even want to fix this, so why am I here? I already know I'm wasting my time, and it's not fair to him because I'm wasting his time too. And nothing changed. And then he got a job just for show. Because 2 weeks later he quit. And I would go up there to check to see if he was working, and he won't work, and he was just walking around talking to everybody, and then the manager had to keep coming up on him, and I'm just like, oh my God. And it's really not funny. So I just been emotionally disconnected from him. But okay, hold on. Okay, so yeah, after I was like, I'm not, I told him, I said, I'm not in love with you. I said, I have love for you. I said, the emotions are just not there. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. Even though he gave me all these things, he couldn't mentally, physically, and emotionally give me anything I wanted, or even verbally do it, or physically do anything for me. And he would always get other people to do his work. So yeah, I was like, I'm sorry, and this is the truth. I didn't feel bad. Like, I was done. I was just done. So, so I moved on pretty quickly. And as I moved back into my mother's house, and I moved into my mother's house, and he would always make fake profiles, like he does to this day, act like strangers and talk to me. And I didn't know people did that. I never did that. I was then a very naive, very trusting, very truthful person. And I thought, ain't nobody like that, because I'm not like that. Everybody is different, y'all. Just because you're evil doesn't mean everybody else is evil. Just because everybody's as good as gold does not mean everybody else is as good as gold or in between. So yeah, he would do that. And he would tell on himself, because, and then he would come up to me and be like, my friend said that you were talking to him, and saying word for what we said. And I was like, and I put two and two together, and I was like, oh my God, that was you? I was like, why? I said, leave me alone. I said, this is enough. And this is where it starts to go downhill. So then I met my last ex. That's where I met him online. So it was October. I was already with my next ex by November, because Thanksgiving, my child's father, my ex, the stalker, was supposed to drop my son off at my mother's house, because I always had him, but I would let him go over there to see his grandmother, because I knew she loved him, and my son was her world for some reason. I don't mean for some reason, but I'm tired of people acting like my kids are not my kids. And yes, I know that these people she has done a lot. Nobody but her and my aunt have helped me out. But I'm just saying, it should have never gotten this far. It was Thanksgiving, and my now ex was supposed to bring my son to my mother's house. And I was supposed to hang out with my family at my mom's house, but I live there now, and I had a new man. And then later on that night, I was going to go to my new boyfriend's house. So this is a month later. I already told y'all that. I would jump right into a relationship. I was done, y'all. I didn't grieve. I did nothing. I feel like there was nothing to grieve. And I feel like that's mean to me to say, but I'm being honest. Like, I never really... I think it was just a distraction. And he helped me get through... I believe everything happens for a reason. I don't believe we're supposed to stay together. I think he helped me get through my childhood trauma, and it did, because once I met him, my anger was gone. It was gone. And also, his mother taught me how to drive. She helped me get my license. She helped me get a car. She took me back to work every day. Like, she was my boyfriend, if you know what I'm saying. She did too much. She did a lot. And I appreciate her for that. So he was supposed to drop my son off at my parents' house for Thanksgiving, and he was supposed to go. That was the agreement. But then he gets there, and he's like, no, we're a family. And I'm like, oh my God, look, you can stay for a minute. You got to go. You gotta go. You gotta go. And then next thing you know, he starts causing a scene, because I'm just trying to hold my baby and walk around and feed him Thanksgiving food, my son. And I'm just trying to, and the next thing you know, he's just angry, because he knows, I don't know if I told him. I don't think I did, because I wasn't that cold-hearted to where I wanted to hurt him, because I wasn't trying to hurt him. I was just, having our son was the breaking point, because a child's life is not nothing to play with. You don't have a kid with somebody to make them stay. But that's the only reason why we had our son. I didn't know that at the time. And he would not leave. So I was like, okay, I said, it's time for you to go. I said, you keep saying we're a family. I said, we're not a family anymore. I said, a family is when you're together. I said, we have a child in common. That doesn't mean anything. Y'all know what I mean. I was like, we're not a family. I said, we're not together anymore. And he wasn't getting it. So then the problem escalated, and now everybody in my parents' house, I'm getting embarrassed, it's getting escalated, and I'm like, you got to go. He wouldn't leave. So I go on the front porch like I always do when things get heated so I can cool off. He wouldn't leave me alone. So I called up my new man I was talking to. And I'm like, I need you to come get me. I said, please come and get me. I said, he's here. I said, he won't leave. He's talking about we're a family. I said, I gotta go. I said, it's escalating. And my child's father at the time, thought I was on the phone with the police officer, and I was not. And I saw him do this. He started doing this to himself, hitting himself in the face. So I ran down the road, and my ex came there, and he picked us up, and then I left. And the next thing you know, the police and everything came, and I didn't call them. I was just trying to get away, de-escalate the situation. And then after that, I was like, oh, wow. And then my parents said that my ex wasn't allowed over there no more because he was a troublemaker and blah, 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 and he was. And then after that, my ex started calling every single body in my family. And then he would be crying with them and then laughing and then crying. And then I'm just like, oh my God. And I said, y'all, everybody just don't, I said, please don't talk to him. I said, please just ignore him. I said, please ignore him. I said, it'll go away. It'll go away. It never went away. It never went away. So, and then he starts harassing my new boyfriend. Harassing him. And then before we even went to court for custody of my son, I would drop him off. Like we had days. And then he convinces me that you're living at your parents' house, and you know how it was when my mom got custody of you and blah blah blah. He was like, do you really think it's like, he really convinced me, even though I was about to get my own place. I don't know why I did. He was like, I need you to keep me full physical custody. And I was still so naive. I did. And then the instant I did that, he turns around and he files for, and when we didn't even talk to the judge, nothing. We were just in the room, and it was just a median. It was me, my ex, and his mom, because she got to be there because she's like his, what's the word? Because he's legally cannot do anything on his own. So she was there, and I didn't even want to do it. And I even told her, I said, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't want to do this, but I feel like I have no choice. Yeah, so and then that happened, and then he turns around like that day, the week later, and I get a letter on my door saying that he's getting child support from me, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, and then at this point I'm having anxiety because I'm regretting everything I did. And my new boyfriend's like, well, what's wrong? He's like, you need to talk to me. And then I couldn't tell him that I signed over my rights to my son. I couldn't tell him that because I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what I was thinking. It was a lot. I was stupid. I really was stupid. So, and then he would always hold my son over my head. You can't date this person. You can't date that person. If you want to see your son, you can't do this. You can't do that. You're going to give me money. I'm so tired of people in the money thing. Yeah, so that happened. And then I had to go back up to the courthouse, and then we went to court for like 3 years fighting custody for my son. So I finally got a good lawyer. Oh my God, he was a good lawyer, and I'm still looking for him this day, and I cannot find him anywhere because he doesn't work where he used to work, and that building is closed down. But he was gone before that building was closed down. And I'm like, please, where are you? He's a lawyer, and his name is Jonathan. And he was like, Jennifer, he said, I believe you that you did that. And then we went to court, and he was like, all right, I was filing for something. And I said, no, I promised him, because he still had kind of control over me because of my son. And I said something,
And he said, no, he's manipulating you. He said, we're going to go in that courtroom, but I need you to tell me yes, or I cannot do this for you. He said, do you hear me? And I said, I told him that we were going to do this. And he said, has he ever kept any word for you? And I said, no, he doesn't. He said, he's going to be mad at you. He said, but this is what we're going to do. He said something about, I can get you custody of your son. Or some, I don't remember what happened. But and then we ended up leaving the courtroom, and then it was 50-50. 50-50. Years down, 2 years battle, but I'm still seeing my son, so, and then next thing you know, every time I'm supposed to pick my son up for Christmas, birthday, all kinds of stuff, he would tell me to come there, and then I would come there, and then he would say, nope, you're not getting him, because, and it was like, he just wanted to argue with me, and I don't know what he wanted, like. And then one day I'm picking my son up, and then he gets in my car, and I said, get out of my car. And this was like not even a year after we broke up. I said, you're not allowed in my car anymore. I said, you cannot just jump in my car. I said, I don't even trust you. I said, don't come in my car. I said, you're not trustworthy. And I felt it in my soul and my gut. He's not trustworthy. He's not. After you hit yourself, and then called the police on me, but that was dropped and supposedly dropped. But somehow he talked the judge out of not letting me go in there, because I was going to go in there and be like, hold on. It was supposed to be dropped, but that's still on my record, so he probably lied to me. So I don't know if he dropped the charges or what, but it was supposed to be dropped. So I'm really, really upset about that, because I should not have that anything on my record, nothing. So yeah, he was always lying to me. And then I said, I don't trust you. And then you lied to me about my son. You go to court, and then just to hold it over my head, I said, and then you turn around and get child support on me because you know I'm making good money. I'm like, you're not worrying about me or your son. I said, you're only worried about yourself. I said, I tried to make it work with you, and I said, you never even tried until you knew I was gone for good, and then you wanted to act like you was doing something. I said, because if you really was doing something for good, you would do it for yourself, and you would have stuck with it, not because of you was doing it for somebody else. Because whatever you do, anything, you're supposed to do it for yourself, because if you don't do it for yourself first, it's never going to get done. And that was how he's always been and still is. Okay, so now he's getting about $600 in child support a month for me now. Now he's getting $600 in child support from me. Even though I just told y'all about, he don't need the money. It was all out of spite. All out of spite. So yeah, the lawyer got me 50-50. And then every time I would come there to pick my son up, like, he was letting my son down. We told our son that I'm coming, mommy's coming, mommy's gonna pick you up, mommy's gonna take you trick-or-treating. He's all dressed up and everything. He's all dressed up in his little costume, and he got his bucket, and he's happy to see mama, and then he doesn't come with me. To this day, I feel like the biggest POS. I swear to God, I wish. I'm telling you, if I could turn back time, but you can't. All you can do is go forward. So I didn't get my son. And he was in my car, and I was like, what are you doing in there? I said, get out of my car, I don't trust you. And then he was just moving around too much, like putting his hands in my seat. And the next thing you know, I smelled marijuana. And I said, what are you doing? Because I didn't even do any substances, nothing at this time. I didn't even drink alcohol. And he said, what are you talking about? And he took it, and he threw it in the woods. So I called the cops. Oh my God, every time we came around, the cops got called. To this day, he's still trying to take me to court, and then I'm trying to take him to court to defend myself. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy, y'all. And it's like nobody believes me because he has custody of my son, but really it's 50-50, but he's supposed to live over there. So, and then after him punching him up in the face and did all that, and then he put the stuff in my car, and I caught him. Oh my God, there's so much more stuff. And then one day it was kind of like, I'm not going to say a hot chase speed, whatever. But he would a couple times when I picked my son up, and like, this was never ended. Dang. And then now me and my new boyfriend are starting to argue all the time because he thinks that I'm messing with my ex, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm like, every time I go there, it's trouble. It's trouble. I'm like, every time I go there, the cops called. Every time something happens and I'm not leaving without my son because I said I'm picking my son up, and he only did that to hold it over my head. And it made me feel, I felt so low. I was angry at myself, and I would pick my son up, and then he would just follow me in my car everywhere he would go, and then he would get out and then take out his phone and record me, and then people were all around him so embarrassed. And I got my son. He don't care about our son. It's all about leverage. And my poor son's in the car, and he was like 1.5, 2 years old at this time. And he's like, oh my God, you were speeding. I got you on camera. You just cut that car off. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm going to speed limit. Speed limit is 45. No, it's 55. But I was actually going 45. And I needed gas, so I pulled into the gas station because my gas light just came on because I just picked my son up. And he gets out, and there's a big scene, and I'm like, stop following me everywhere I go. And the people starts running up, and they're like, are you okay? And I'm just like, it's okay, it's okay. And that scares my ex off, and he runs away. And this is where it does not stop. It does not stop. Like, every time I would go pick my son up, he would, in other words, pretty much hold me for hostage. He would not let me go. And I'm like, please, I'm picking up my son and I'm leaving. And then he would always jump in front of my car. And I'm like, this is for real. And I started having panic attacks every day around this point. And then, I don't know if I think I got a restraining order on him one time around this point for 72 hours. And then we had to go to court, and then the mom agreed that she would be the third party because we could not go through each other, and she actually would let me see him when I could see him. And oh my God. So once we started dealing with the mom, it was like years later because things calmed down because we did not go through each other. And then it was like every time, I don't know how he found out because I didn't post anything on my Facebook. So I was like, somebody is telling him my business. And the only people I hang out with, it's my family, my co-workers, and close friends of the family. So I was like, who is telling my business to him? Because when I got pregnant, somebody told him. And then he tried to say that was his baby. And I was like, come on now, stop playing. And now this is where the story's gonna get crazy, y'all, crazy. And I'm just tired and I'm exhausted, so I swear to God, this is part 1. Part 2 is going to be uploaded. Probably not smart, because, yeah, but the next day, yes, for sure. So, stay tuned to part 2 of a true, real life stalker, because I'm telling you, y'all don't want to miss. Y'all have a good night, and I never wanted for any of this to happen. I'm not mad at anybody, but I've still never gotten an apology from anybody, nor is anybody owning up to it, and these people never do. That's why they act the way they do, because they believe it's fine. But you know what? This is already going on 50 minutes, so yeah, this is where it gets really crazy. This is where it gets crazy.